Welcome back to the Ten8 MMA Podcast, brought to you by Rainbet. I'm Superfan, joined by my lovely co-host, who is not Arian. This is just his summer cut. This is Alex Behunin. What's going on, Alex?
What's up, dude? Happy we're back. Happy we're talking. Yeah, bro, this is my summer cut, aka my Tank Abbott cut. And we finally have a good UFC card. It feels like it's been 700 months, but we're back. Before we get to that, last week was Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. I was in Florida for that fight. Did you have a chance to watch that fight?
Yeah, I did. It was mildly entertaining, I would say. Mike Perry didn't really look like Mike Perry to me in a way. Like I kind of expected him to come out there blitzing, being wild, and out throwing Jake by like 200 punches, but missing most of them. The way he has kind of his wild technique, and he looked very gun shy. Could have something to do with him getting dropped twice in the first two rounds, but it was still a pretty fun fight, which I think we all knew the result was going to be either way.
Yeah, obviously Jake Paul's going to fight Mike Tyson in November, but I mean, are we done with the Jake Paul fighting MMA fighters experiment yet? Like, are you done with it? Because I am.
I was done with that Tyron Woodley, but I don't. Fortunately, I think he's about out of options with anybody that's a former MMA fighter with name value. You know what I mean? I mean, where does he go? Anderson Silva, he's already fought. I guess he could try to get George St. Pierre out there. God, please don't do that. But yeah, no, he's pretty much out of options. He called out Alex Pereira, which hey, while we're here, I also want to call out Alex Pereira since I know he's under contract and legally can't fight me. That was a 10 out of 10 business move by Jake. Really, really smart. So
you're saying you don't want Jake Paul to fight Anthony Pettis?
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
I saw some wild takes about Jake Paul versus Alex Pereira, about the hypothetical matchup that will never happen, as Alex Pereira is under contract. But I saw a lot of people say that Jake Paul would knock Alex Pereira out because Alex Pereira is quote unquote chinny.
Yeah, that's because they're morons. Listen. Jake Paul unanimously dropped a round to Jake Paul Jake Paul unanimously lost a round to Mike Perry this weekend. Respect to Mike Perry, I love the guy. There is about 7 worlds of difference between fighting Alex Pereira and Mike Perry in a boxing match. Those are not the same things.
Thank you.
And people were saying, oh, it's because Alex's leg kick set up his striking. Okay, that's fair, whatever. But he's still a much better boxer than Mike Perry or 50-year-old Anderson Silva or wrestler Tyron Woodley or even Tommy Fury. I bet he's a better boxer than Tommy Fury. And if he's not, the physicality of being 220 pounds, Jake's never fought anybody over 180 pounds. No, there's a world of difference. Anybody who thinks that is just trying to be the smartest guy in the room. Like, actually, Jake Paul's pretty good. No, he's not.
Yeah, he's good against MMA fighters that are not boxers, right? And when he has all of the money in the world to get better at that craft, that he's only focusing on one thing, of course he's going to beat MMA fighters that are not fighting MMA anymore, or it's a pretty easy math problem that people just can't figure out like what's going on in these matchups.
Oh yeah, I love the argument. He's like, he's only been doing this for X amount of years. I was like, Cyril Gahn's only been training MMA for like 5 years. He fought Francis Ngannou 2 years ago. Like, he's got unlimited money. I'm not going to knock his work ethic. Obviously, he's working at it. But no, if you put anybody in this environment with this much money, put them into a gym and say, hey, train every day of the year, you're going to get about as good as Jake Paul is.
Well, I'm glad that we have the same brain length, the wave. Like we're on the same page. So yeah, man. As we said, we're done with Jake Paul fighting MMA fighters, but now we get to see him knock out a 60-year-old Mike Tyson, which yeah,
Yep. Yeah, no comment on that. I'm going to try to give that the least amount of attention as possible.
As we should. UFC 304 this Saturday. As I said, finally a good card. feel like, man, we've been withdrawing from this. What would you rate this card, man?
On a scale from 10, so I give it an 8.5 out of 10. This card has almost everything. There's really no. I can't look at this card and say, oh, well, I guess there's like one or two, but pretty much. I mean, that's insane to say there's only two fights that are bathroom breaks for this card. I mean, the rest of it is like solid. Like you have Mokaev and Kopp on the prelims, early prelims, not even headlining it. Um, that's insane. The only thing that holds this card back for me is that we kind of have a big asterisk mark in the co-main event. Like we have, in my opinion, Tom Aspinall should be the unified champion because he's the interim champion. The unified champion said, "No, I'm good. I want to go fight a retired fireman." And is 42 years old. Got knocked out 3 years ago. Haven't seen him since. To me, he went to go take an exhibition fight instead of unifying the belts. To me, that's a vacation, vacating the belt vacation. And to me, this is the unified championship. But since John's ducking, it brings it. It would be a 10 out of 10 if we got the right fight.
Yeah, this card, the main card is solid. It's a 10 out of 10, but the prelims kind of bring it down for a little bit. There's some fun fights on there, but there's just some like, but whatever. I think the main card is so strong that who gives a fuck about the prelims? And we're gonna just disagree on this. Obviously, you hate Jon Jones. I love Jon Jones. And I understand everybody's complaint about Jon Jones not fighting Tom Aspinall. And in a real, if they would have stripped Jon Jones and said, that, all right, Chris Blades, Aspinall, you're fighting for the undisputed heavyweight title, I'd be fine with it. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. But the fact of the matter is, that's not happening. And Jon Jones has done enough in the sport to deserve a fight with Stipe for the belt. He's fighting the quote unquote heavyweight GOAT. It's 4 more months. If people can't wait 4 more months for Jon Jones to fight Stipe, then I mean, fucking give me a break. It is what it is.
Where I disagree hardcore is that a champion hasn't deserved anything.
That's Jon Jones. Jon Jones can fucking deserve a lot, bro. Like
for having the record for most PED failures, no, I think that discredits most of what he's done. Most sports for his real serious steroid ban, they actually would have banned him for a lifetime. With the NBA has a policy against that. But whatever. When you're a champion, no matter what, you don't earn anything. You have a duty to say, "I'm the best in the world. I have to fight the next best in the world."
That's meritocracy, and MMA doesn't work that way. We've seen many times where fighters don't fight the next best. Look at Alex Perry. He should have fought Anthony Goliath. Look at Michael Bisping. He should have fought Yoel Romero. He fought GSP. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't work this way. Sorry. Like, it's MMA.
Well, there were some different circumstances around that. This is the first time we've had a undisputed champion have a whole nother fight booked while the interim champion was booked to defend. Like you can say the situation with Dominic Cruz and Barral, but there was a major injury circumstance. Even though, in my opinion, they still should have stripped Dominic Cruz, but there was a circumstance. This is the first time we just flat out said, "Yeah, we're gonna let John face somebody else for an easy win instead of giving him the interim champion." No, if you have an interim, this makes us. Here's how this works. This feels like boxing. We are no different than boxing now. When there is an interim champion, he has to unify against the unified champion, and that's what you got to do.
No, it's MMA, and MMA goes by its own rules, and I don't give a fuck. Jon Jones, out of the cage, he's a horrible human being, but inside the cage, he's the best fighter that's ever walked this face of the planet, and he deserves to have a legacy fight with Stipe Miocic with the title on the line. Like, it is what it is.
His legacy is most steroid failures in UFC history. That's not a made up fact. That's a Googleable thing. He has the most. His legacy is no. If you were talking about GSP or Demetrius Johnson, I might have a little more leeway. But no, I don't think John's got any of that going for him. He's got the most steroid failures. He's been stripped like 3 times. His legacy is not the greatest of all time.
It is the greatest. He's the best fighter to ever walk the face of the planet.
I guess Dominic Reyes is second.
I guess so. It is what it is. And so yeah, so with all that being said, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. I love Curtis Blades. He's my stutter brother, and I think this is a very dangerous matchup for Tom Aspinall. But I think if this fight gets out of the second round, it's going to be very interesting. But we've seen Curtis Blades get chinned a lot, and Tom Aspinall hits really hard, man. And Tom Aspinall is on a just different planet, man. He's so fucking good. And as much as I would love to see Curtis get that belt, I just don't see it going that way. What about you?
Man, I am mind blown by the odds. I looked at the Rainbet website earlier. What I think that Curtis is like, or Tom's like minus 350 or something like that. Man,
It's crazy.
I'm with you where I think that Aspinall wins, and like you said, it's going to be interesting when he goes past 2 rounds. I don't think he's ever gone past 2 rounds in his career.
No.
So yeah, that's obviously interesting to think about, but his fight style is kind of do or die. So I don't see that ever happening ever. But I'm mind blown by the odds. Like truly, this fight to me is like a 60-40 in favor of Tom. So I'm riding Tom, but if you're listening to this, there might be I'm a big betting guy. A big betting philosophy is you don't always bet on who you think's going to win. You bet on where the value's at. For example, I bet Alex Pereira over Jiri. They fought twice. I would bet him. I think he wins 10 out of 10 times now. But if you give me Jiri at plus 800, I'm going to put something on Jiri, even though he's probably going to lose. There's too much value there. That's how I'm looking at this Curtis Blades Aspinall fight. In their first fight, we only had 15 seconds of tape, so there's not much to go off of. But I don't think there's anybody in the world Curtis can't bang with. So there's nobody he should be this big of an underdog against in the world.
I agree with you 100%. And when we look at Curtis Blades' losses, he's lost to one punch knockout guys, right? Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis, Sergey Pavlovich. Would you say Tom Aspinall has one punch knockout power?
Absolutely. I think he has probably out of the guys you just named, he probably has the least, but striking wise, he's a better striker than Derek. He's a better striker than Pavlovich. I'd actually say he's a much better technical striker than Ngannou, so he compensates with his striking ability. So, but even on top of that, yeah, he still hits like a truck.
Yeah, no, for sure. The thing is, and if you know Tom Aspinall, he has a very good ground game. His jiu-jitsu is very good. We've really never seen it for the most part. Yes, he's tapped out Volkov. He's tapped out Andrei Arlovsky, but that's when he took them down and he did that. We've never seen him on his back, and if Curtis Blades can put him on his back, that's what I really hope to see. Just kind of see adversity. But I just have a feeling we're not going to get there, man. It's I don't know. Tom Aspinall's on a different level, but I hope we get to see something crazy in this fight. But it is heavyweight MMA. Who knows what happens? Main event. Yeah, there's not going to be a finish in that fight. It's going to go 5 rounds. Probably going to be a clinch fest on the cage. I don't really care about this fight at all. What are your thoughts on this fight, man?
I actually think this fight's not going to go the distance. I know that's unpopular, and it's by the odds, it's not likely to happen. I think it's like plus 200 or something like that for this fight to go inside the distance. But when you watch their first fight, I mean, Leon was out there going do or die, which we never see from him. There's some true dislike, hatred in this fight. I think that we see Leon go out there being a little reckless, taking more chances, mostly because Bilal Muhammad's punches make like the squeaky duck noises when they land, so there's not much of a threat there. I will say this: I think that both fighters have dramatically improved since their last fights. I think once again, I'm a massive Leon Edwards fan. Like probably, I think I've went on record saying he's my favorite fighter in the UFC. I don't agree with the odds here. I think, is like minus 275 against Bilal. I think this fight's close to 50-50. Bilal's really good at not getting hit. Uh, he's very good at controlling range. Leon's obviously better at that, but I think this will be a very technical battle, but we're going to see a lot more action and that we usually see from these two guys. They both want the finish. They both are coming out to make a statement. I think the stuff going on in Palestine, I think Bilal might come in here with a little extra motivation, and Leon hates Bilal, so he's going to come in with the motivation. I think we're going to see somebody probably get TKO'd.
I pray to the MMA gods. You're right. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't really take anything from that first fight. Leon looked awesome.
He rocked him like twice.
Yeah, but like
he had him on Bambi.
Bilal was fine on 2 weeks' notice during the pandemic. Leon was pissed off because he was supposed to fight Hamzat 3 times. Like, I don't know. It's just, there's not a whole lot to take from that fight other than Leon Edwards was beating Bilal's ass for a round until he poked him in the eye. Like, so, and like you said, they've both gotten way better from that fight. So it's interesting. I just have a feeling it's going to be boring, which is what it is. But I do want to bring up Paddy Pimblett versus King Green. Man, I feel like a lot of people think that Bobby's just going to beat up Paddy. He's just going to like use him as a punching bag, and I kind of see that happening. But also, like at some point, King Green's going to show his age, right? And Paddy's still young. He has deceptively weird power. It's kind of different. I don't know if
he's athletic and explosive.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if he can touch King Green's chin, but who knows? How do you see this fight going down?
I'm actually shocked at the odds again here, but I'm shocked that they're accurate. A lot of times the general public has a lot of influence on what the odds are, and the way people are talking about this fight on Twitter, like you said, a lot of people are expecting Bobby to walk through them. So I honestly thought if you would ask me to guess the odds on this fight, I would have said Bobby's probably minus 250, minus 300. He's minus 120 right now. That's about what it is. He should be a slight favorite in this fight. Paddy's improving a lot every fight. I know he's fought Tony Ferguson, but he looked as good, if not better, against Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green did. And I know this isn't MMA math, but Bobby is there to be hit. He keeps his hands down super low. He can crack too. He does everything pretty well. But Paddy's trajectory is going up. Bobby's is on the downside, and right now they're colliding right in the middle to me. This is like 50-50. If this fight was booked a year later, then I think Paddy would definitely be a favorite. So with that being said, I still can't pass up Bobby here. The play of the week here, we're going to do Bobby Green, and we're going to parlay that with Christian Leroy Duncan.
I like that.
That's an awesome fight in itself. CLD is going as Gregory Rodriguez. A huge factor for me in this is Gregory Rodriguez lives in Brazil. This is a short notice fight. He's going across the freaking world for this. We're gonna parlay Bobby Green money line, CLD money line, and you parlay that together, you get plus 220. That's a valuable bet right there. And shout out to Rainbet for that.
Awesome, man. And before we wrap this podcast up, obviously we talked about the last 2 fights. You just brought up CLD versus Rodriguez. Is there any other fight on the card that kind of piques your interest?
Oh, yeah, a lot. CLD, Gregory Rodriguez, awesome. Arnold Allen, Giga. I think that's a sleeper. It's not getting talked about enough. That could headline a fight night. I'm also excited for Makayev and Kopp, obviously. Sam Patterson making his debut. That's going to be cool. And Shauna Bannon, if I want to throw something else in there. She has a lot of hype around her name, and she can't shorten her first fight, so I'm excited to see how she comes.
Yeah, the prelim headliner Nathaniel Wood for Daniel Pineda, that's also a
Oh,
fight that's just ridiculous, right? Like Daniel Pineda
yeah.
at 40 years old has a 100% finish rate. He's just a madman, and Nathaniel Wood is just he keeps getting better. So I'm really looking forward to that fight.
Oh yeah, yeah. I completely even forgot about that. I mean, even I know she's hated on Twitter. Molly McCann,
Mm.
when she fights in England, it's fun. She's a little wild. It's a fun fight.
1,000%. And her at strawweight, it's her second fight at strawweight. She looked awesome in her strawweight debut, so I'm really interested to see how she keeps going in this division, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, fun card for sure. I'm glad they're um, doing this for the American fans and putting it on at a reasonable time. I feel really bad for the fans attending, but USA in this hoe.
USA all day, baby. And with that, thank you, Rainbet, for this. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We will be back next week to recap this card and look forward to UFC Abu Dhabi. Thanks for listening.